Search is changing faster than most businesses can react. From Google updates to AI overviews to disappearing traffic, the SEO playbook that we're all familiar with is falling to pieces at this point. Many companies are still chasing keywords and backlinks, but there's a real shift that is no longer about hacks. It's about how AI decides which content actually deserves to be seen. In this episode of Humans of Growth, we break down why rankings vanish overnight, how micro SEO strategies restore visibility, and what businesses must do now to show up in both Google and AI search. Let's dive into the episode. Today's guest is Chris Raulf. Chris is the founder over at Boulder SEO Marketing, which maybe you can guess, but what they focus on is helping local business owners rank at the top of Google and show up in AI search results through Google SEO, AEO, and GEO. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Aly. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Chris, I introduced a little bit of the professional side of you, but in a sentence or two, or maybe a story as well, who are you as a human? What's bringing you joy right now?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Switzerland, moved to Boulder, Colorado about 30 years ago. We just became grandparents, so that's a big thing in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. About a month, 6 weeks ago, so that's amazing. Then I love to travel. My wife and I just hiked Kilimanjaro. The altitude kicked my butt for my wife, no problem. And right now we're planning our next bigger trip. I think Australia is on the list. So I love to travel. You know, I love to combine. I work a lot, but then I also like to do a lot of fun stuff like traveling. And then I'm 55 now. I still play soccer 2 or 3 times a week. You know, we live in Boulder, so hop on my bike and we run, and that keeps me, I guess, healthy and mentally fit and, in shape.
So what's the number one place people need to visit before they die?
Oh, I have a list of like 1,000 places.
Okay.
I would say, I'm a little bit biased. I just came back from Switzerland last week. I love Switzerland. Now I'm basically a tourist when I go there. Mm-hmm. Basel is my hometown. It's not very well known. A lot of people know Zurich, Geneva. Yeah. Basel is a gem. So I highly recommend Basel, but obviously there's so many other places around the world that I also like to go to, but making a little bit of advertising here for Switzerland.
Okay, so get out of the tourist cities is what I'm hearing within Switzerland. Okay. Yeah. Do you do a lot of skiing there when you're over in Switzerland?
So I haven't skied in Switzerland in a long time because we get the pass here in Colorado. I mean, we're in one of the best ski places in the world. So we're already planned out the entire winter, and we're going to ski a lot.
Okay, I'm assuming you're doing blacks and not just like blues and greens.
Double diamonds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're not that crazy here in Colorado. But no, more as I get older, it's more like cruising, and then occasionally a double diamond where it gets a little bit more interesting.
Okay, I mean, my brother took me skiing last year for the first time in probably 10, 15 years. Yeah. And we definitely got some air going down the mountains. I was very sore afterwards. Never again. So pivoting gears a little bit into the world of marketing, search engine optimization. Everything has dramatically changed in the past year or so, and it is going to continue to change. And you and your company have a little bit of a secret sauce that you term micro SEO strategies. Tell me about that.
Wow, you've done your research. Yeah. So about 4.5 years ago, our website got hit by a core Google algorithm update. And we lost overnight like 80% of our organic search traffic. Oof. Devastating. Yeah. We were so busy helping other websites get to the top, so we completely neglected our own website. big mistake, right? You
Yep.
cannot let that happen. So rightfully, we were hit and we lost 80% of our organic search traffic. We don't do anything else besides, getting people to our website and reach out to us. So that was a bit of a wake up call. So I spent the entire weekend thinking about how can we recover some of that traffic in the shortest amount of time possible, given how search works. That's when I developed micro SEO strategies. Basically, in a nutshell, we built the best piece of content on the internet in relation to search terms that people actually search for and have high intent. And then we do about 30, 50 things besides creating that page to get it to rank at the top in Google and now in other AI search engines like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, etc. But basically, I spent 2 days developing a methodology that luckily worked immediately. And since then, for about 4 years, I guess, we've been updating this methodology. Now there's a lot of AI involved. It has tremendously evolved. But yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, I love it. I hate that, but I do remember the Google update about a couple of years ago, and so many businesses got taken out by that. They had built their business on SEO, and all overnight, people were losing all of their website traffic.
Well, the problem is that still, sadly, a lot of people try to game the system, the algorithm. Guess what? You're not going to be able to game Google. It may work in the short term, but it's not going to work in the long term. So don't do things against Google Webmaster Guidelines. We're completely a white hat SEO company. We're pushing the limit now with AI, but we test everything on our own websites first for, the amount of time that it takes to really get a good understanding. Is it actually going to work? And we are now implementing AI methodologies that save us so much time. We're able to deliver more, at a better price in less time and actually see better results. A lot of people, they just kind of game the system. They cut corners. I just spent, again, 3 days prompt engineering, updating our micro SEO strategies methodology to add more AI components to it. That's what it takes. And then obviously, we implement it on our website, and I want to make sure that it's actually working.
Yep, 100%. So for people who don't know, you mentioned the phrase white hat SEO. Can you explain the white hat SEO that works now versus the black hat SEO that used to work 10, 15 years or so ago? Can you walk us kind of through that process?
Yeah, so when I got into SEO 30 years ago, before Google was actually called Google, they were called Backrub back then. So Backrub was built on backlinks, right? That was the only ranking signal. How many websites are linking to other websites? That was the only ranking signal, right? So that is a black hat strategy where still people try to purchase backlinks. It still exists, sadly, where there's like link farms. You can pay $1,000 and you get 10,000 backlinks. That's black hat. Just don't do it. It's completely pointless at this point. Or, there's this, just do a Google search for, most common black hat SEO strategies. Even pains me to talk about that. But basically, if you have a bad feeling about doing something that could hurt your website, just don't do it, right? It's common sense. Create high quality content, get natural backlinks because people like your content. I would say just focus on the white hat SEO strategies that you feel good about, that you believe will get you the results that you're looking for.
So tell me, what are the white hat SEO strategies that most of your clients lean into?
Yeah, it's content. I don't know if you know John Mueller. He's the search liaison at Google that talks to us SEOs, that shares, tips and best practices and, debunks certain myths, etc., etc. if you listen to John Mueller, there's the one thing he always says, create high quality content that resonates with your audience, make sure you talk to a specific ideal customer profile. It's not that hard, to be honest. First of all, you got to think our methodology starts with, who's the ideal customer profile. All right. It may be me wanting to hike Kilimanjaro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, build a profile around that person, and that person, will have specific content needs. So I did a lot of research, how long, which route should we take? What kind of climbing gear do you need, et cetera, et cetera. Then build specific content that really answers that person's questions. So in a nutshell, that's what people need to do. You don't need to be an SEO expert to do SEO, create content that's super high quality that actually addresses what people are searching for.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've seen change a little bit in SEO, and I'm not an SEO expert by any stretch of the imagination, is that shorter form content used to rank, and now it's leaning towards you need more comprehensive content that's a little bit more longer form. Are you seeing that?
No.
Okay, great. Love it. Tell me more.
Google's algorithm, they had to up their game tremendously when ChatGPT launched in November of 2022. Google was caught off guard, right? All of a sudden, there was another search engine that, started to take market share away from Google. So they had to quickly release Gemini. It was called Google Bard back then. So these systems, they scan the entire internet, right?
Yep.
And they're now able to surface the right kind of content for the right kind of person. That's how they're going to stay in business, right? We're only going to trust these systems if they're actually going to be able to show me what I'm looking for. So to answer your question, it depends, right? If I'm looking for the ultimate gear list to hike Mount Kilimanjaro, it's probably going to be a longer piece of content. But if I just need to know how do I saute some vegetable, and it's just a snippet on Instagram, which is now getting indexed in Google search, then it can be 2 or 3 paragraphs, right? This is where we're going with search. So it's not the quantity. It really is the quality, what I mentioned earlier. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. So part of, from what I have seen on your website, of the micro SEO strategies is how do we take a page that's not yet ranking, but is good quality content and is a gold mine to some degree, and get it up in the rankings. Can you tell me a little bit about what that process looks like?
Yeah. Here's an example. Yesterday, we republished our SEO costs guide. One of the most important keywords for that guide is SEO price guide, right? I know exactly how many people are searching for that keyword. So we optimized it for that keyword. We were not at the very top for this keyword. So we have tools where we can see, what keywords a certain piece of content ranking for. So we look for low-hanging fruit opportunities. Okay. It's a keyword that has high intent. We know for a fact that if somebody, finds us through that keyword, they're probably going to take an action, right? Then B, it already ranks in some form or shape in relation to that piece of content. So we're, bottom page 1, maybe page 2, maybe page 3. So we call that low-hanging fruit opportunities. And then, of course, we want to have enough search volume, so enough people typing this keyword into Google. So we looked at the SEO price guide. Again, if you do a search for, I think, SEO price guide, it's now at the very top of the first organic search result. So we take a look at these low-hanging fruit keyword opportunities, and then we take all of those into consideration when we update the content of this existing piece of content. So we completely rewrite the content, make sure we use those keywords in a semantic way. So we completely redo that piece of content to make it more applicable to those search terms that were kind of not at the top in Google. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's my question with that is you're wanting keywords that have low competition but high search volume. So how do you go about finding those and then balancing what's the mix of like this is too much competition but there's also a lot of search volume and then the other way around?
So I personally love competition. It gives me great joy if I can, get one of our clients to rank for extremely competitive search term where we're actually able to outrank some of the biggest websites in the world. Is that always possible? No, it depends on so many things, right? So it's definitely easier to go for lower competitive keywords that ideally have decent amount of search volume. But I don't care. Like I love when I'm able to outrank way bigger websites, with our methodology. So to answer your question, I do recommend a tool called SE Ranking, seranking.com. If you go to their competitive research, tool, you just plug in the website and then you see what this website ranks for. Right?
Okay.
They show you the current ranking, the search volume, the competitiveness. You get all that data in one place. And also the piece of content that this keyword ranks for. So my recommendation, use a tool like SE Ranking.
What would you consider to be high search volume versus low search volume? Like how do you kind of... Because it's such a relative concept.
Good question. So for me, high search volume could be, one of our target SEO keywords is like Denver SEO. We have an office in Denver as well. I want to show up at the top in Google for that keyword, right? So I think there's about 400, maybe 500 people searching for that keyword on a monthly basis.
Right.
That's a lot, right? Yesterday I had a conversation with a e-commerce company. They sell like back rollers, medical roller, etc. So we did a little bit of keyword research on the fly, and then one of these products, they're like 10,000, 18,000, So it's totally relative to what field you're in.
Right.
So 20 could be an amazing search volume. And 10,000 could be a very low search volume. So it really depends on the industry, et cetera, et cetera.
And I'm assuming you're telling me the exact same thing for competition as well.
So I really don't care about competition. I'm just, I love the more competitive, the better. Am I going to optimize our own website for the keyword SEO? No. We're not going to rank at the top in Google, right? So you want to go for longer tail keywords, 3 or more words strung together, because the intent is way higher. Those keywords are usually a little bit less competitive, easier to rank for within a reasonable amount of time. So don't make the mistake of just going for, 1-word keywords. You're probably never going to be able to rank for those keywords.
Nope.
At least, string 2 or 3 words together. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, I love it. And that's kind of what I've seen with the little bit of SEO that I've done on other channels is the longer tail keywords. There may be a little bit lower search volume, but not always. But you're going to still get more traffic for basketballs for girls aged 5 to 10 versus I want to rank for basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're never going to rank for basketball.
Yeah. The reality is that we're talking into these devices.
Hey guys, real quick, this episode is sponsored by Parison Network. Parison Network is a matchmaking service that connects businesses to marketing agencies that will actually get you results. There's over 50,000 agencies in the United States alone, and picking the right one can feel, well, pretty impossible. Parison Network simplifies the entire process by doing all of the vetting for you. From the initial agency search to interviewing and vetting the top marketing agencies, to getting proposals and helping you with the discovery call, Parison Network does it all. This way, you end up partnering with a marketing agency that actually delivers outcomes, not empty promises. If you're ready to stop wasting money on marketing that just doesn't work, visit ParisonNetwork.com and get your free agency search started today. That's ParisonNetwork.com, PERISSON Network.com.
And the search terms, they're now sentences, right? So when I take a look at our search, Google Search Console, you can see exactly how people get to your website through what kind of content. And oftentimes it's now, what's the correlation between EEAT and domain authority, and how do I best implement these SEO strategies? And obviously we have a piece of content that talks about that, right? So somebody like that, could have a very high intent in, hoping to hire somebody like us. So that's how SEO and GEO is changing. People are talking to these devices, and then they have to find a match and then, show them the best piece of content.
Right, absolutely. And that's, I think, what we have to remember, especially as search becomes to some degree more and more AI focused, is what are we saying to our AIs that then they're going and searching and bringing us, here's the top 5 SEO companies in Colorado. Is that we are, like you mentioned, we're using longer sentences. So it would make sense then that the content you're creating is optimized to some degree, not always, but for the long tail keywords, because it matches both human speech as well as how we write.
Yeah. So we usually go for 3 North Star keywords, and those are usually shorter tail. Okay. Those are like overarching, SEO price guide, SEO costs, Google search engine optimization. And then we have 10 to 15 supporting keywords, and those are usually long tail, like phrase keywords. Because then that plays into the semantic aspect of creating content. People still freaking out about, keyword stuffing. It's not working. So we see this strategy work really well. Go for 3 to 5 shorter tail keywords, and then go the longer tail route. And that seems to be working really well right now.
Yeah. Do you see, it used to be that 10 years ago when I was doing SEO, you would have to use the same keyword, whether it was a short tail keyword or a long tail keyword. You needed to use it multiple times within the context of whatever content you're putting out. Is that still the case?
No.
No, good. You're right. Love that.
Every day you hear about how many billions of dollars these companies invest into data centers, into evolving their technology, et cetera, et cetera. So keyword stuffing, probably worked still maybe 5-6 years ago, but that's, would you want to read a piece of content where, you read 20 times the keyword SEO price guide in the first 3 paragraphs? No, you would abandon that piece of content right away. I highly recommend don't, implement that strategy if you're doing SEO.
Okay, I love it. So from keywords, when it comes to the technical aspect of SEO and the micro SEO that you guys do, what do people need to be thinking about besides your H1s, H2s, H3s?
Yeah, that's the basic on-page stuff that you need to follow. And to be honest, just go to, ChatGPT or Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, and say, hey, give me a list of the most important on-page elements in, terms of SEO. So it's all the stuff that you said, right? Make sure you have optimized title tags, description tags, image alt tags. It's just like, it's so the basic stuff.
It's basic still.
Yeah. That still helps, and then obviously, I think don't go past H3 titles. I think Google only takes a look at the H1, 2, and 3, maybe 4, but I would stick to no deeper than H3. And then, make sure your content is the best content on the internet. So basically, create the best piece of content on the internet. And then the formatting, the on-page SEO stuff, that's just like, the cream on top of, the cake, where if you get that right, you may be able to get some SEO points as well. But a lot of people, they're so obsessed about these SEO details where they think it's so important.
Yep.
It's not. And it's not that hard to properly optimize a piece of content. Just follow the basic guidelines that are available out there on the internet. You'll be fine as long as you create the best piece of content in relation to the search terms that you want to rank for. And of course, in relation to the person that you want to get to that piece of content.
Yeah. And that's what I think as SEO shifts, the principle that still seems to stay the same is how do we create content that matters? When you go, like, going back 10 years ago when the internet was still not near what it was today and there was 1,000th of the amount of content out there, the best content, the quality content always wins. Now, as we shift to AI, the best content that's the right content for the right person will still win.
So we actually just this week, we updated our BSM Copilot methodology tool. So we're doing a ton with AI now. Let me just make sure to be very clear. So we actually do use AI for content creation, but we do it the right way. A lot of people, they'll just go to GPT and like, hey, create me a blog post about this, right? So we create virtual customers based on source content that's available that they created on the internet. Let me use me as an example. So there's a virtual Chris that sits on top of one of these AI tools. I do a lot of speaking engagements all over the world. I'm happy to share my knowledge, such as this podcast, right? All the information that we're creating right now, that's net new source content. Okay. It's a gold mine. So believe me, I'll probably get access, hopefully, to the transcript of this podcast. It will be fed into virtual Chris. Why? Because I'm sharing new information. Every time I talk, I share, I've done research, I share new things. So my virtual Chris has a knowledge base of many, many, many documents, podcasts, webinars, speaking, whatnot, right? That I created. So we're able to use virtual Chris in relation to with our BSM Copilot tool. That's basically just a repository of extremely complex prompting sequences to crank out content that exactly sounds like me. Plus my team has access to virtual Chris. So I get a lot of requests for, providing content for a roundup on SEO or whatnot, right? They just go to virtual Chris. They don't even contact me anymore. I trust it now. They don't even have to show me. I just get notified that, hey, Chris, you were included in this roundup. I'm like, wow. Virtual Chris, my team did a really good job. So this is what we're implementing now for us and our clients. Very highly sophisticated AI, SEO, geo methodologies that work really well.
Yeah, and I think that's something that business owners need to be paying attention to as they lean into AI for content creation. You don't necessarily want the AI to be pulling from the entire internet to some degree, because that information is not necessarily correct. We've seen ChatGPT do a little bit of course correction because it used to be that a lot of the information it pulled from was Reddit. If I'm writing a blog post on something that's medical related, I don't want that post that blog to be pulling information from Reddit by any stretch of the imagination. And so how do you take, and I think this is the information that's out there and say, we can leverage some of this if it matches my thought leadership. But here's all of the chats that I've done. Here's the internal conversations I've had. Here's the podcasts I've done, the speaking engagements, sales calls, talking to clients, all in one repository. And this is the information that you're going to pull from, so that the content that AI creates is actually thought leadership, and not just an amalgamation of all of the content that happens to be in the internet. Because at that point, it's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So, by the way, my wife hates it that there's a virtual Chris. She's not in tech.
Okay.
She actually helps save lives. But this is the reality that I live in, right? I need a virtual Chris, and the better virtual Chris, the better the output, right? So, and I mean, we're so at the very beginning with this AI technology. In the future, we're probably going to be able to license knowledge from Disney, from, whatever big company, where they have a repository of knowledge that people create there. I mean, it's a gold mine, right? If I had access to all of the knowledge of, the brightest minds in SEO, that's a gold mine, right? So, and that's where we're going with this stuff. A lot of people still have not caught on. I'm shocked when I speak at conferences. I'm like, hey, who has created their virtual carbon copy yet? And it's like 2 out of 10 maybe show their hands. They're like, wow, you're missing out. Because, that SEO price guide, again, if you're listening to this podcast, just do a search for SEO price guide. That thing, 100% created by Virtual Chris. Obviously with, fed on all the source content that I created. Extensive prompting, etc., etc. So a lot goes into it, but that thing 100% created by Virtual Chris. I did some editing. Are you actually looking it up? Right?
Yeah, I am looking it up. Once you get past, it's interesting what comes up. So when I search it, you get the AI overview, monthly services breakdown, Then you get, Google has extended how many sponsored results come up. So it used to be 1, 2, it's now up to 4. And once so you're scrolling halfway down the page, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But you are number 1, published a day ago.
Yeah. So
it works.
We're the first organic blue link, right? And we're also included in the AI overviews. And that's the thing. Google is now keeping most of the traffic on their website. So you got to be showing up in these AI overviews as well to get a chance to get people to your website. Reality is very few people will actually click through one of these things that are cited in AI overviews. So that's another topic, right? You got to create content that, ideally you should show up in these AI overviews, but you got to optimize for keywords that don't trigger an AI overview, because then the chance of getting people to your website is actually greater, right? So a lot of people are freaking out about getting cited in these AI overviews. It's a death zone, right? Nobody's going to click through to one of these links that's cited there. I certainly don't see, a lot of traffic from these AI overviews, but things are changing. I'm excited to see what's next.
I love it. And I think that's an interesting concept, because you'll see some SEO agencies that are like, and businesses who are like, yes, you want to show up in the snippet. And there's been a lot of talk about, how do I show up in the snippet? And then comes the question, are people actually I click on the snippet because I don't trust AI. I know too much about how it works. But how many people actually read the snippet? I don't pay attention to it anymore. How many people go to the link, and then how many people just scroll right past it? Because AI, and I think you hit on the point of AI search. The snippets are not in every single search. So how can you be thinking about showing up for the search results where there's no AI snippet?
Yeah, so obviously search SEO has gotten more complex with, all these AI search engines popping up. So we're now trying to find a good balance of what the client wants and what they actually need, right? So some clients, they absolutely want to be included in the AI overviews, which soon is going to be called AI mode, right? So we'll obviously try to create, that's usually longer form content, where, searchers, they use longer tail search terms. So we create very in-depth guides like that SEO price guide. But the best keywords to show up for, honestly, are the ones where Google does not trigger an AI overview, because then, as you said, for the search term SEO price guide, first the AI overview, then there's like 4 or 5 now paid results, right? Yep. And then I'm way bottom third of the SERP, the search engine results pages. That's devastating. Yeah. So we're still trying to figure this out, but we'll optimize for high intent transactional keywords that ideally don't trigger an AI overview.
Yeah, and I think the two things, based on everything we've talked about today, are you pushing out quality content and not AI garbage? And then second, how can you be showing up when there's not a snippet? Are kind of the two of the biggest things. And then I think also you mentioned intent, and how do you get the bottom of funnel intent where it's not like, what is SEO? Because those people aren't near ready to buy, but how do I find an SEO agency or like, can you walk me through that a little bit of intent?
Yeah. So again, my favorite SEO tool, SE Ranking, you just plug in the website, it gives you all the data, in what category does that keyword fall into, intent, transactional, blah, blah, blah. So you have all the technology available to make informed decisions. The problem is that most people are just like super lazy. Believe me, me too.
Yep.
But so we have the technology available to us to make informed decision. It just takes a little bit of time. Luckily, I have a big team of people that know what they're doing. So they actually do that research, right? And then it's critically important that you optimize for the right kind of keywords that actually have the right intent. Because at the end of the day, clients will only stay with us if they're happy and making money, right? They want to get leads and sales at the end of the day. So getting cited in these AI overviews is great, but if they don't convert into a lead or sales, who cares?
Could care 100%. And I think that's where people have to start paying more attention to what's the intent behind the content that I'm creating.
Yeah. Again, that price guide, I know for a fact a lot of people have no idea how much SEO costs, right? So it's like a gateway piece of content where it's super educational. I know for a fact these people they're probably in the market, right, to team up with somebody like us. I placed some nice CTAs across the piece of content, as you can see there, even throw in a webinar, make it more sticky. This seems to be working well. You definitely don't want to just create salesy content, create educational content, but then definitely focus on the high intent keywords. If you get somebody to your content, make sure you have an opportunity for them to actually convert based on what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, this has been incredibly helpful. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. If people would like to connect with you further, what's the best way for them to find you?
Oh boy, just Google my name.
Okay.
Or we do webinars all the time. So if you search for AI SEO webinar, I think we're at the top. You're going to find us if you search for Boulder SEO Marketing. Yeah, I'm always happy to talk shop. If somebody,
you're everywhere. If people just type in SEO, they'll find you, right?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Eventually we'll get there. We'll go from long tail to short tail to the one word keyword eventually. All in good time. Awesome. For everyone tuning in today, thank you so much for joining, and we will catch you on the next episode of Humans of Growth.